Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maximo and I'm here checking out another PSP game because why the hell not? This is Castlevania The Dracula X Chronicles. This is a remastering of Rondo of Blood, which was originally a PC Engine CD game, which is kind of amazing actually. I never even knew that existed, and to be fair, I wouldn't know that it existed if it wasn't for Rondo of Blood. We'll go have a quick look around before we go hopping in. So you can change the way that I have left my speakers on. Alright, continue on. You can change your control mapping, which is kind of nice. So you have it by default as the up and the attack button, which is the default sort of Castlevania platformer era sub-weapon attack. But you can remap it to any other button, well, not any other button you like, but lots of other buttons. And you can do this with pretty much everything here. In fact, I might remap this to circle. That would make a fair bit more sense. So you can also change your control method, which is literally just, do you want to use the analog stick to move, or do you want to use the D-pad? You can also change the display size for things that are related. We'll come back to that. You can also change the wallpaper for these sorts of things. Again, we'll come back to that, although I do kind of like the whole Dracula wallpaper going on there. You can also change the voice language, which is really nice. Although the English voice acting in this game, while a bit iffy, we probably won't see any of it in this video just because I'm terrible at this game and always have been. But the English voice acting in this game is sort of cheesy enough to be enjoyable without really getting in the way of things. But we'll actually just go and hop straight in. So I actually downloaded a complete save file just for the purpose of demonstration, but I did go and play a little bit myself to get back into the swing of things. We'll start on that save file just because that would be the smart thing to do. He says, not really being entirely sure of himself, but we can work with it. So you've got a stage select. You can pick from any level that you've been to, which is nice because it means that you can go to the alternate stages anytime you like and try for their alternate paths, because stages have alternate paths in this game because it's a Castlevania game, although the original Castlevania didn't really. Anyway, you can also go to the boss demo and spend money that you've collected in the stages to see a good playthrough of all of that. You can also go to your sound assign to actually assign the same track to literally every stage, which is kind of hilarious in my point of view because I love the mix of Vampire Killer in this game, which is why I'm going to start on stage 2. But the entirety, I just remapped every stage that I played on to be Vampire Killer. But you can come here to remap pretty much everything. You can also unlock bonus tracks by finding them in the stages here. But as you can see, I haven't really done too well on that. So we're just going to go and, oh yeah, you've also got boss rush mode. You can even do it with friends, which is actually kind of neat, but I've never actually been able to do that because it's ad hoc only. So let's just go and start the game, shall we? I picked stage 2, so let's do this. So this is Castlevania. If you haven't played the games before, and frankly I wouldn't blame you, they are a bit out of favor, especially over the past couple of years. It's a pretty simple concept. Very old-style game. It's a 2D platformer game with very methodical combat in the sense that enemies pretty much will react the same way, and you just need to be able to take them out. Your main weapon is a whip. The whip is relatively strong, although there are enemies that can take multiple hits from it. And you have to use both the whip and an assortment of sub-weapons, which you can find in the world. My current sub-weapon right now is the daggers. The daggers suck. Never use the daggers. There are multiple different kinds of sub-weapons, and my personal favorite is the axe, which goes in an arc. There's also the... Is it the boomerang? I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I'm going to call it the boomerang because that's basically what it is. And the boomerang goes forth and then comes back, so it's great for getting multiple hits on something that's big and stays still. There are also other neat weapons, like the... My brain needs to work with me here. There are other neat weapons like the Holy Bible. There's also a key which you can use to unlock things like alternate routes. We'll get to that later. I just want to show off some more gameplay first. And there are items you can pick up in the field as well, one of which I'm definitely going to need to pick up. There are things like healing items in this game that you can get too, which is nice. Fuck you, giant eyeball. I hate these things. I really do need a better sub-weapon. But yeah, basically it's as you see. The game gets exponentially harder, as in, I've been able to beat this stage without damage before, and yet I haven't actually finished the game proper. Which I know sounds ridiculous. Well, slightly less ridiculous considering how shit I am at games. But it's a really fucking hard game. Like, just in general. As soon as you get to the higher stages, you will be getting your ass beat. The stages get ridiculously... Come down here and let me hit you, you motherfucker! You piece of shit. Alright. I know there's a cross up here that'll take everything out, including him. There we go. What a cunt. So, as I was saying, the game gets exponentially harder. The stages become really long and are filled with difficult enemies and just difficult placements in general to deal with. It can get really fucking difficult. As I said, I have not finished this game. I have made it to stage 7, I think it is, which is the penultimate stage. There is a stage where you basically have to fight every boss from the original Castlevania, spoiler alert, and... oh shit. There is a game where you have to fight basically every boss from the original Castlevania. I've gone to the stage after that, but that's basically it. Like, I haven't been able to get any further, like, whatsoever, because I suck at this game that badly. But in my defense, the game is really damn difficult. I'm making it look harder than it actually is here, because I swear to God, I am actually better at this game than I'm showing off right now. But good lord, this game. Like, I'll have to show off some of the harder stages, obviously, but goodness gracious, the amount of shit they expect you to deal with in this game is just intense. The stages are hard because the enemy placement is amazing, as in, it will fuck your shit up if you even let your guard down for even half a second. You're toast in this game half the time. Sure, you get multiple hits. It's not like the original Castlevania where you only get one hit, but those multiple hits will disappear very quickly. The enemies are in a position where they are possible to get past. It is definitely not an impossible game. It is just a very hard game. It is a fair game. You will always see what's coming. There is never any issue with that in the Dracula X Chronicles. It's just really, really damn difficult. It's fair, but it's difficult. It's Shovel Knight levels, but even harder than that. It has fantastic enemy placement. Your weapons are stiff, but functional. You can beat every boss in this game without using a single sub-weapon, just reliant on your whip. I'm not going to do that because I'm not fucking insane, but yeah, you can also... I swear I pressed triangle there. You can also press triangle to use an item crash, which is basically a really powerful version of a sub-weapon. But yeah, every boss in this game has the same attacks. They'll never pull anything out to surprise you. Well, I mean, like, after the first couple of times, but all the bosses follow a pattern, right? They will always have the same attacks, and they will throw them out with some consistency. Like, bosses can be learned, bosses can be defeated, enemy patterns can be defeated, all of that sort of thing. And the game is... well, I don't want to call it perfectly balanced for beginners, because it can be frustrating as hell trying to beat this game, even on the earlier stages. But once you get used to the idea, I fucked that up. Wow! I got the final shot while I was dead. Go me, okay. Alright, let's try that again. Unfortunately, I only get the holy water because you lose your sub-weapon and your hearts when you die. Your hearts being your ammo for your sub-weapon. But yeah. The game is hard but learnable and beatable. And it is one of the best examples I can think of a game being like this, because it is just that damn good at it. Because all the bosses are not so much predictable as, you know, learnable, as I was saying. So, every boss has weaknesses, and every boss basically has attacks you should get out of the way of, or know how to get out of the way of. Like, unless you know to crouch right at that specific spot, you're not going to be able to dodge that, but it's pretty easy to learn that you can crouch to dodge that. And screw you, dude. Ha! Backflip. Gotcha, bastard. Alright, come on. Try it again. Gotcha. Oh, almost got away with it without, Gotcha, you son of a bitch. Thankfully, their last hurrah attacks cannot kill you. Thank Christ. But yes, hard but fair and actually a fucking ton of fun. Like, seriously. Consider the fact that every stage in this game would not equal up to an hour if a good person was playing it. I have played this game for dozens of hours and still not managed to finish it completely. It is that good. It is retarded just how engaging the Dracula X Chronicles manages to be, despite being one of the hardest games I've ever played. And I'm just amazed at how much I can enjoy it. I usually don't enjoy the frustrating games. Like, it took me like 4 tries to even consider giving Dark Souls a chance for more than a couple of hours at a time, right? So imagine my surprise when I adapted to this game's... Well, not so much adapted to this game, but just got used to its overwhelming difficulty so quickly in comparison to a game like Dark Souls, that it just blew my mind that it was as enjoyable as it is. I'm just trying to avoid that guy. Sometimes you can backflip up to higher levels, but it looks like I'm going to lose that opportunity here, so I might as well just move on. But the combat and just the overall gameplay, while not being the, like, end-all be-all of this game, what this game's appeal is things like its secrets. So, that was actually quite convenient. There are tons of secrets, hidden paths, hidden items, and just general Easter eggs in Dracula X Chronicles that it's beyond belief. I don't want to spoil all of them, because half the fun is trying to find them all yourself, but I will tell you a few of the really appealing ones. So, there are alternate versions of stages 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you can find them via the regular alternate paths in both the regular stages and the hidden stages, so you can go all the way through the hidden stages if you feel like it. The hidden stages all have their own bosses, their own secrets, and their own things you can do. Yay for turkey in the wall, because yay. They are all incredibly hard to find though. They will all often be in situations that are particularly perilous, like for example this stage here. If I stay on the upper path, it will get me through to the end. It will get me through to the end and it will get me through to an alternate level. However, this alternate path is so long and one fuck up will send you falling through that you are just kind of screwed. Like, seriously, it is so incredibly hard to get the ultimate stage on this path that I have never managed to pull it off. Just trying to avoid having to deal with these things. But I'm getting smashed by all these like skeletons. As I was saying, all the hidden stages and hidden paths have tons of hidden collectibles, including collectibles that can only be found by the secondary character, spoiler alert. The secondary character is also hidden, to the point where you need to go through half of stage 2 with only the key sub-weapon. There are hidden games, and I will be happy to like show off like the first stage of the original Wonder of Blood. But the hidden games you get are hidden in alternate stages, and they take a fair amount of work to find. I found Symphony of the Night myself, which is, yes, it's the Castlevania Symphony of the Night. But there is also copies of 2 games. One which is the original Rondo of Blood, which this game is a remastering of. And the other one is outside Symphony of the Night. The other one is this weird-ass game, which was included in the original version of Rondo of Blood. But, for whatever damn reason, now I have no idea why this is a thing, but they included this weird thing that went off if you put in the Dracula X, I think it was the cartridge, but if you didn't put in the, what was it called? If you didn't put in the disc, but you put in the cartridge, you would get this weird-ass little mini-game thing where, yeah, I can't go through this door unless I beat this guy, and I'm probably going to die in the attempt. Worth a try anyway. Thankfully, I have a lot of... this is the end. He had me cornered. I think you actually need to ring that bell in order to successfully beat that guy, but I didn't have an axe, so that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, they included this weird little mini-game where if you played the game without, like, the right hardware installed, it would just be this weird, like, 5-minute tech demo, and it was odd. Like, really odd. It's also the hardest thing to find in the game, so it's not like you're going to be, it's not like it's gonna be the first thing you find and you're gonna be really disappointed. I'm just gonna take the lower path, because the lower path is miles ahead of, the lower path is so much easier. I admit to being bad at video games, who would have thought? So yeah, you get 2 hidden games, 1 hidden little toy, a bunch of hidden soundtracks, hidden routes, and of course, the best ending in the game requires you to find a bunch of other things as well. And they are, as I said, they are hidden all over the place. Like, the amount of effort it would take to find everything in this game without a guide is unbelievable. And I'm amazed that some people would have managed to find this all out by themselves, just because of how bloody insane it would be for some of this shit to actually be found without any help whatsoever. But basically what I'm trying to say is the game has a ridiculous amount of content, which is something I really like. Just because it gives the game a lot of replayability. All the hidden routes and the little shits here, all the hidden routes have their own different enemies. All of the other things are, all those other things like, you know, just hidden pickups and stuff are all good and help you get through the game. Just all of these things give the game a hell of a lot more replayability than it would otherwise. Not to mention the fact that you're basically paying for 1 game and you get 3, which is awesome. And of course, you get things like... Well, I don't want to spoil some of the surprise, but there's an absolute ton of stuff to do and find and just play in general in this game. Tons of different kinds of enemies to fight, different layouts, all sorts of different things. And basically, it's the concept of Castlevania. If I can actually make this... Thank you. It's the concept of Castlevania taken to its complete limit. Everything you can imagine in a Castlevania game has been, at least in a, not a Castlevania like Symphony of the Night game, like in a proper retro, hard as balls Castlevania. Anything you can imagine in this kind of Castlevania game has been shoved into this one somewhere. And for that, I love it. Because it takes the idea of the ultra-hard retro platformer and just takes it as far as it can possibly go. This is actually where I made it. This is the furthest I've ever made it on the upper part. You actually drop through right there. One of the tips before you're about to fight a boss, hit the walls. It's always useful to find a giant piece of meat that's stuck in the wall there. Of course, we can't continue on talking about the game without talking about both well, just the presentation in general, which is the graphics and the sound, both of which are absolutely excellent. The game looks absolutely amazing. Like, you'd never be able to tell that it wasn't its own thing, instead of being like a remake of Rondo of Blood, unless you really knew about it. It just looks absolutely amazing for a PSP title. This is a PSP title. The graphics just give a fantastic sense of Castlevania atmosphere, The game itself stays at a really consistent frame rate. It looks great just overall, and I love it to death. It just looks, sounds, plays the part, and yes, by sounds, I do mean it sounds the part, because Jesus fucking wept. This soundtrack is amazing. My favorite version of Vampire Killer ever, and just a bunch of, oh Christ. Yep, I walked right into that one. Thankfully, I can just, well, I can just try and knock him back, but there he goes. He will try and attack me with lots of blocks, which I managed to fail the second dodge of, and I need to get out of the way. There we go. Fuck you, Minotaur. Almost got him. There we go. That's why the boomerangs are useful, because they come back and they have this nice tendency of hitting things on the way back. But yeah, the soundtrack is glorious. It is just incredible. I cannot say anything more about it other than it just works amazingly for this game. And I love it to death as much as I love the look. Now, I'm going to back out to the menu here because I want to go and show off the second character. Now, there is a second character you can get in this game. Her name is Maria, I think. My brain might be working against me here. I don't have her unlocked on this file, but thankfully that's why I got the 100% file. Maria, hurrah! So let's select stage 4, which was already selected. Well, ain't that good luck? Let's just go straight into it. So, Maria changes the game completely, because not only is she a fair bit easier, she gets a free double jump, just as an example. She is the easier character overall, I will admit. I have managed to beat stage 5 alternate, which is actually easier than beating fucking Death on stage 5, because Death was my roadblock in this game for years. He was a fuck. That's all I can say about Death. He was a fuck. But, yeah, as I was saying, Maria changes the game completely. She has not only the double jump, but she has an entirely new set of sub-weapons, like this cat here, for example. She also has a dragon, which I'm a big fan of, which just does a little vertical rise in the air, and then just, oh dear, which has a little rise in the air, and then just beats the crap out of anything that's in front of it. She can also attack faster just by default because of the birds and all that. So hopefully I can do slightly better than I would with Richter on this stage. But still, she's a character, you can play her, and she is relatively easier than... Oh yeah, I forgot about what the turtle did. The turtle is fucking retarded, but I'm gonna hold on to it anyway. So thankfully you can do that. I settled my double jump early there by accident, and I paid the price for it. And I jumped right into that because I'm not used to playing as Maria. I usually try and play as Richter just to maintain some sense of... I was about to say, am I really so light I don't even set off that switch? But, as I was saying, I'm more used to playing Richter because I just, because I want to be, what's the word I'm looking for? No, I'm gonna keep the music book. I'm more used to playing as Richter because I want to, try and actually get good, but even I can admit that that's not going to happen for me. So, whatever. I'll play as Maria from time to time just to feel like an actual badass. Although it's a bit weird that the easier character is the one that gets locked behind a surprisingly hard to find route, but whatever. But yeah, let's talk about the other games for a second. The English food, there's the dragon. I think it's dragon anyway, it might be... Get back here, thank you. The extra games in this game are actually kind of interesting, because you do get a full version of Fuck Off. Yes, you do get a full version of Fuck Off. It is the name of, damn, I'm gonna try and make a joke, but I couldn't think of anyone who was particularly profane. Anyway, the other games. Jesus! What is it about me and... Wait, she has a forward roll? What the fuck? I've been playing this game for how many years and I never knew that? What the hell? Really should be using my fucking dragon here. What the hell am I doing? Anyway, as I was saying, the alternate games. So, Symphony of the Night is the most interesting of the lot, mainly because of how it has a fully redone voice work. Now, I know that sounds weird, but if you aren't familiar with Symphony of the Night, most people are at this point, but Symphony of the Night on the original PlayStation had one of the cheesiest, wall-crunchiest, set-eatingest dubs known to mankind. It was hilarious, and it was one of the reasons people loved the game. Like, if you're familiar with the line, "Die, monster, you don't belong in this world," and "What is a man?" And I really suck at this. I shouldn't have tried and run through. It's alright, I still need to get around to showing off a stage of Rondo of Blood, but... yeah, if you're familiar with "What is a man?" A miserable pile of secrets, and definitely not a tone that makes him sound like a unenthused British housewife. Holy shit, she has a fucking forward roll. I did not know this. But this game actually does a full remastering of Symphony of the Night's voice work, which is a weird effort to put in for a game that came out on PSP that had Symphony of the Night as an unlockable extra. You do have to remember at this point that PlayStation 1 classics weren't on the PSP at that point, so actually getting it as a free bonus for a full-on PSP game you're buying already was a really nice touch. And to be fair, it still works better, well, it doesn't so much work better, but it still works as a copy of the game. It's the full game and everything, so you get the full story, the hidden castle at the end. Fuck off, please. You get everything. Wow, I suck. Alright, we're gonna go back and we're gonna play the original Rondo of Blood for a bit, because why not? Also, that is weird. Although annoyingly, just so you know, if you have to continue, you get put way back at the beginning of the stage. So you might as well just head back to the main menu anyway if you feel like doing something else. But yeah, if you go down to the original games here, Rondo of Blood, Symphony of the Night, and Untitled Dracula Peke, which is just weird. Like, I don't know why that's a thing, but oh well. To Rondo of Blood. So yeah, you get the full game of Symphony of the Night, which is nice, because it's practically 2 games in 1. I know it's a bit weird to call it 3 games in 1 when this is technically a remaster of the game we're about to play right now. But yeah, it is a full-on side game that you get for your, like, 20 bucks. But then you also get this, which is Castlevania Rondo of Blood. The first official localization of this game, technically. You do get the full experience. You get to play as Richter or Maria. You get the weird little anime cutscenes, which were a thing way back then for Japan. And you get every stage. Here now the Requiem of Blood and the Devil Flies by Night, Top Ground Town. You get everything. Like, we're going to play stage 2 with Richter, which is the stage that I started this video off with. So you can compare the two. The one major difference outside of, you know, this game actually being in English, which is actually amazing. Like, I am just like, why did they go to so much effort? Like, you would think they wouldn't bother to translate this one because it's a Castlevania game and people would just get the point, right? Not to mention that you would literally know your way around the menus because, you know, you played the English version of the remaster, but the fact that they went to the effort to actually remaster and voice act all of this stuff is just, for this version of the game alone, is amazing. And it's an already great game, getting a great remaster, and a free copy of Symphony of the Night. Also, your control bindings actually do carry over to this version, so yeah, you can throw the daggers here as well. Come down here, thank you, fuck you. There we go. But yeah, the one thing about this version of the game is that it's definitely harder. They made the Dracula X Chronicles easier, which I do not object to in the slightest, because seriously, this game can be really difficult at times. Across we go. So yeah, it's one hell of a package. The best Castlevania platformery, hardcore, the best difficult Castlevania, combined with what people consider to be the best Metroidvania Castlevania, plus a remastering of the best hardcore Castlevania, all for 20 bucks, or even less if you get it on sale. It might be cheaper right now, actually. They might have like done a price drop on it that I didn't even notice. But it's an incredible package. Like, seriously. Two of the best games ever made in their respective genres, or sub-genres, or however you have it. Plus the remaster, which is not only notably difficult, but something you can spend a lot of time trying to master. Just, like, why haven't you bought this yet? That's the only question I have. Why haven't you bought this yet? It's an amazing game. Like, I cannot, fuck me. I cannot recommend the Dracula X Chronicles highly enough. Back when Konami was still actually making games and giving a shit about them, this came out. And it is the best Castlevania-related anything to have come out in the past, like, 10 years. And I love it to pieces. Because it's just shit. It's not shit, it's that good. That was a really bad time to throw a swear word in. It's just that good. As I said, I have never finished this game, and like, legitimately, by myself. And to this day, I still come back to it. So if that doesn't give you an idea of just how much I love this game, being someone who usually can't stand high difficulty titles, if that just doesn't give you the slightest idea, then where the hell have you been the last 5-6 years? That's like, can I actually use this here? And I'm like, I can. Unfortunately, there's nothing here because on this save file, the girl's already been rescued, so... There you go, there's one secret for you. I'm just trying to get through to the boss before I lose a life. Which I think I have success. I have, hooray! But yeah. If you've ever wanted to get into Castlevania, whether it be the hardcore versions, like you've played something like Shovel Knight and you want to play a game like that was one of the main inspirations for Shovel Knight, or if you want to play, I missed a candle there, or if you want to play one of the best Metroidvanias ever made, there is literally no reason not to pick up this collection. Because this is the best way to play both of them. Sure, you can argue that the original PlayStation 1 version is the best via virtue of its... Wow! Just cut my head off right away, why don't you? Thankfully, I get another shot at that. But yeah. There are very few reasons to not want the Dracula X Chronicles. It's an amazing... It's two amazing games, an awesome remaster, and just one of the best Castlevania anythings ever to exist. And you can charge 50 bucks for this on Steam and people will probably still buy it. Just because it's that fucking good. Just in general. I can imagine this being on PC with like 4K. You can see that this boss is a lot fucking harder. He is a lot faster. And has a couple of moves that I am unfamiliar with, that's for sure. Right. When he goes to throw his, fucking thing, just jump over it. That would be the best way to go about it. I jumped, but just too late, unfortunately for me. I'm gonna get this fucker. Come on, there you are. And now this is where he starts flying across the screen like a batshit insane maniac. I try and get him with that, and I fail, and I hit him in the face. Thankfully, I don't die, because, as I said, last hurrahs don't kill you. They just give you less score at the end of the day. I look like I'm crouching in midair, but I don't fucking care. This game is amazing. Buy it immediately. Why do you think I did a video on it? Because I'm not going to do videos on bad PSP games just because I can. I'm going to point out the really good ones first. So there you go. That was a look at Castlevania The Dracula X Chronicles. An amazing package, an amazing remaster. The amount of positive adjectives I can use to describe this game are not high enough in the English language. I'd have to use other languages. This is where I show that I don't know any other languages. I can't fucking meme, I'm a leftist. So this is... oh man, I shouldn't make myself laugh at that. That was a bad one. But yeah, that was Castlevania The Dracula X Chronicles. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.